Oh!
We cannot have you clanking about the castle, interrupting our sleep.
Tales to Tell at Midnight is a selection of 6 creepy stories from horror icons Edgar Allan Poe, Shirley Jackson and H.P. Lovecraft, as well as 2 names you might not associate with horror, Rudyard Kipling and Oscar Wilde.
Well, you've got a whole different slew of you've got Mr. Edgar Allan Poe, who's diabolical to other human beings and does awful things to them, which is quite blood-curdling. Shirley Jackson, who wrote House on Haunted Hill, and she also wrote a lot of 1950s stories that were to do with life in America and being a woman, and being very much in a rather anti-woman society. There's Rudyard Kipling, who writes beautiful stories showing how obnoxious the English could be all over the world as they had their Commonwealth, as we say. And there's the beauty of Oscar Wilde with The Canterville Ghost, which is just a charming ghost story.
The theatre makers' cast of 8 will interpret the stories in the style of an old-time radio show, bringing them to life or undeath with the power of their voices.
Several casks of Amontillado in the middle of the carnival. Impossible.
Well, originally I saw these on the Sci-Fi Channel many years ago when they actually did sci-fi. Leonard Nimoy and John Delancey, who played Q and Spock from Star Trek, actually formed a company called Alien Voices, and they loved radio. They'd grown up like me with radio, and so they convinced them to give them money, and they performed 3 stories that we're doing tonight live as a radio show in front of an audience. And I saw that and I was absolutely delighted, and I thought, well, that'll be nice to do one day. Since then I've actually done a number of radio adaptions myself, and a friend of mine unfortunately passed this year to cancer, and I wanted to take that grief, turn it into something positive and raise money for cancer relief. So I took those 3 stories, added another 3 stories that I adapted, and turned them into a nice evening that we can charge money and give 100% of our ticket sales to cancer relief.
And how scary is the night going to be?
Well, scary enough to be your money's worth, but you're not going to have to change your pants at the end of it. You can bring young ones to it. That was the idea, is that we could, theatre makers as a conglomerate of Trafalgar, White Light, Black Cat Players and other theatre troupes that have come together and become one, and now we're running the Panto, and we wanted to try and create a Halloween where we could be a seasonal thing where we start to bring in folks from the outside to introduce them to theatre, because we don't get that many things where you're able to introduce young ones to the theatre, and that's why it's for 10 upwards, just for the literacy in that sense. But horrible enough that it's worth coming, but not enough that you're going to have to change your pants.
It was not until late that evening at the banquet, however, that the memories of our horrifying experience together came flooding back.
Tales to Tell at Midnight is showing tomorrow and Thursday at 8 in the evening at the Inces Hall. You can book your night of spooky fun on buytickets.gi.